Life is a gigantic mystery. It's a different path for everyone. No one person lives the same life. Some people go ahead to finish school, get a degree, get married and raise a family. Other people go into trade school or logistics and drive big ass trucks across the country. And then that small lot of people that decide to do none of these two things just disappear for some years and become millionaires. Start flashing their M4 competition on TikTok like crazy. But everybody's life is gonna be different. And with all these differences, all these other things people will go ahead and pursue to do is that we still as humans have a lot of shared experiences most of us can relate to. From getting your first kiss, pissing off your teacher, or even embracing struggle munch and eating whatever you find in your kitchen because you were that hungry. Like for me, it was British rolls and crisps. I used to combine them together and that shit was busting. It was beautiful. Yeah, you can't judge me, man. That's all we had. So for today's video, I thought I'd take a step back from the usual things I speak about and mention some experiences in my life that, you know, I hated, despised, detested, and would never want anyone to ever go through these things. And hopefully most of you here can relate to these and can see yourself in my shoes. So let's get into the first relatable experience, and that is... Now, before I even go and speak about this, I might censor the word sometimes. So every now and then I say something about my former J words. You may hear, because you know I like. So now that we got this out the way, jobs are the worst experience someone can have in life. And I'm not talking about jobs you choose and go to university to get a degree for. No, that's different. As far as I'm concerned, that's pursuing a passion. You following your dreams. I'm talking about jobs where you're just there to make ends meet, or be able to buy some shit you really wanted that your parents would definitely not support you for. Like a PC, designer clothing, getting an earpiece and then hiding it from your religious parents. You know, the usual things. It's a horrifying experience most people will go through in their life, whether they like it or not. Because being broke is not an option to most people. I would have wished that on my worst enemy. It's a struggle in itself to even walk outside your house and have no money. Because if you did that, you're probably cooked. Leaving your house is a giant expense in itself. If you were to go walk down the street, you'd probably without noticing have already spent money. And then you'll come back home and check your bank account to see that the only thing you are left in it is a fucking nickel. That's how bad it is out here. The cost to survive in London is mental. If you wanted to move out your parents' house and settle into another place, the most you could get for £1,000 it's probably a room down at the motels. And even then, that's at least half your paycheck. Then you gotta save, buy groceries, feed your cat like it's impossible. And even for those of us that may have nothing to pursue in places of education or even trade schools, telling your parents things like your biggest goals in life is to be a famous basketball player, a YouTuber, or even a streamer. Of course I believe in you. Anything is possible with enough hard work. But in this economy, shit, until your platform takes off, you're gonna have to at least juggle a part-time here and there. You're gonna need some money to fund your career. Shit ain't cheap. But eventually, due to society, every one of us will have to get a... It's the only way to progress forward in life and move on to become an independent individual in society. Not all of us have daddy's money and can shake ass on a private yacht in Dubai like it's nothing. A lot of us here are broke as hell and gonna have to break bread and start paying bills one day. It's a gigantic setup, but it is what it is. What all just plays in the game trying to last the longest. So let's say you're finally old enough to work a full-time job and you're ready to start getting this paper. Buy your own clothes, get a car, afford a girlfriend one day, and now you're just scrolling through Indeed and putting in your application. Yeah, you know you never get a job doing this, man. Job sites have to be the biggest scam in the entire planet. The amount of stupidity of when it comes to getting to work simple ass jobs that literally need no degree is dumb. I used to go on websites all the time before and just straight up apply to anything. Jobs that literally in the requirement sections will say some shit like needs to work certain hours, no experience required. And for some reason, to become a cleaner, you would need the resume and skills of Walter White cooking crystal meth. Cause what kind of life did you think I had until I turned 18? To mop a floor, you apparently need the genes of Tony Stark. It's some bullshit. You thought I was a child genius going to Oxford at 12 or something. Are you high? With the amount of applications they've got everywhere, you'd think they would take anyone up on their offer. But apparently, you would need a specific set of skills. To do what? Pour dish up on your hands. You're better off following them people online talking about making 10k in 30 days than you are to actually apply for a job that don't give a monkey about you. It's dumb. And bear in mind, these are jobs that take little to no effort to do. There is no top tier hacking. You don't need to be a ninja or flipping Homelander to work here. The jobs would be as simple as picking up a box and putting it on the other side of the room. And they still wouldn't hire you. What's some bullshit? You could be the most stacked individual, got 5 gold medals, a doctorate, and you're a nuclear physicist who can make the next biggest nuclear bomb that would end the entire planet. And somehow, they'll send you an email and say you're too overqualified. What does that even mean? What do you want him to come work for you? You're stupid. Back when I used to apply to jobs on Indeed and LinkedIn, I would just spam my application everywhere. Like I wouldn't even read the titles of the jobs no more. I still get emails to this day about new jobs I should apply to that I know if I did, I wouldn't get it because the system is rigged. But then a miracle happened. After years of surfing, I finally got my first job. One of the only few I've ever had in my life, which was being a salesman. I was 17 at the time, and after many stupid Zoom calls and relentless interviews, I finally got a job in door-to-door sales. and I quit the same day. It was not for me, fam. There was nothing wrong with the job. In fact, you could probably benefit from it if you worked hard enough. You just had to go around to people's cribs and sell them on shit they definitely didn't need. And then you would get a portion of any of those sales done. It's on a commission-only salary. Which was my problem with it. It would mean that if I didn't make a sale at all, I was finished. There was no money coming in. And the interactions and conversations I would have with people to convince them to buy, horrible. I was out here reading pitches like, excuse me, sir, for the low price of $19.99, would you like to buy this completely useless toaster that is nowhere near better than your toaster and will most likely burn your house down if you use it? I need money, please buy it. I didn't really leave that job because it was too hard or anything. I really left because I didn't really mess with what I was selling. And at the end of it, if I didn't feel right trying to get people to spend their hard-earned money on things they don't need, just because I needed money, that's wrong. Plus, I'd have to walk day and night, 10-hour shifts walking through neighborhoods all the way outside London, with it raining all the time. As far as I'm concerned, this job ain't even sustainable, bruv. Then I left this job, went ahead to being a dishwasher for a little bit, did YouTube simultaneously, and here we are. Unemployed again. I'm just saying I understand the struggles. I think if most of us can flip a coin to be rich or work a 9 to 5 forever, chances are most of us will take it. Especially if it's a job you're doing just to pay the bills on time. If it's like that, then it's peak, bro. I hear you. I hate this shit, man.
A loaf of bread, a container of milk.
Getting rejected just sucks for anyone. Whether you're trying to ask someone out, get a job, or even work your ass off to make the team and you just get straight up denied. That shit stings. It's an embarrassing feeling everyone will go through once in their life. And it's something that most of us, if not all of us, will either take to the chin and keep it moving, or just take it mad personal and throw a fit. Either way, most of the time, it doesn't leave you feeling good about yourself. And I, like everybody else, have had my fair share of getting rejected. Psych! I ain't never been rejected before. I get all the girls, man. Is what I say in my dreams. I ain't get no play, man. I suck. Getting rejected is just us. You could be the greatest person on the planet. Rich as hell, emotionally intelligent, built like a supermodel, and have a build like it was straight off anime. And yet, it still ain't good enough. I'm not saying anybody's owed a relationship just because you look good, or you should be angry at not having one just because you look good. But I am saying the bar today to be with someone? Terrible. The dating world is utterly cooked. I mean, there's probably still some hope for you if you go to a place where you can constantly approach people like school or work, or even if you consistently go to public places to go ahead and shoot your shot. But besides that, it's over for the rest of us that ain't do that shit. Sometimes I would lay awake and just be thinking that in the future, one day, when I do want to be married, I actually have to go out and approach. That shit still hasn't sunk in with me yet. It's weird. I'm not trying to say I'm afraid or anything or I find it hard to speak to girls. Okay, I do, but it's not like I wouldn't go ahead to go do it if I had to. Rejection is a part of the process. Things aren't meant to be so easy to the point where anybody could do it. If I probably went to go ask people who were in marriages for like up to 15 years how they do it, one word I think they would give me to describe how they did it is being relentless. They probably stayed at it, getting into relationship after relationship to make it happen. And I don't want to do that. That's ass. That's too much energy to give to one person, let alone go through that with trial and error again and again and again until it pans out in the right way. You could be on Tinder scrolling through profile after profile, finally get a match, and as soon as you don't meet up, it's horrible. You might don't click together and then you go ahead to waste each other's time, and now you got to repeat the whole process again? I ain't got the patience for that shit, man. Or you might get catfished, and instead of me and Cindy from Ohio, you're face to face with a guy calling himself Yennefer. It's over. To constantly be rejected, often from people you wanted more with, whether that be to be friends, be their partner, or become the Robin to their Batman. Getting told no constantly regardless just isn't it. And I might sound like a bitch right now to some of you, but this is just true, man. It's facts. It's some horseshit. When I was growing up in primary school, I was an ugly kid. I'll be so real. I was fat, had a bald head because my dad would be giving me them proper skin fades. And the worst of it all is that I wasn't one of the fastest in primary. Now, you know, in England, if you're one of the fastest in primary school, you were the guy. You would pull all the girls. You'd be the teacher's pet. Life would just go your way. You would be chosen for every main role in every performance. But me? Hell no, man. I look like Bubble Bass growing up. I was not that guy. You know, every time I would try to audition for a main role in the year performances like Romeo and Juliet, they would tell me shit like, hell nah, bro. Just make me a treat for the rest of the performance. It was cool. But yeah, I wasn't really that rated in primary. I had some friends. I was close to some people. And I was grateful enough to even have some friends. But the girls? Hey, they hated me, fam. I don't even know why they did. They were haters. Then we skipped to secondary school where I went to an all-boys school. And before one of you dumbasses just comes up and says, haha, this nigga gay. Bitch, I'm 99.9% sure in my whole year, there were only 2 gay people. I could be wrong, but from what I saw, there were only 2 people. In secondary school, I was more known around. See, our school had 2 different sets. X set and Y set. And your boy was on the GOAT side, the Y set. And in my set, I was known and was cool with most of the people here and there. And you may be asking, yo, how does this even add to getting rejected? Well, I don't. I just thought I added part of my life story here. When it came to talking to girls in school, we had a sister school which was practically the gender opposite to our school. So now you're like, waves. Did you shoot your shot to any of those girls at the other school? You must have, fam. Hell no, bro. You have to do that shit after hours. I went straight home. Put that bus straight to yard. I ain't played these games. I had to play that new Fortnite season, man. But I did move to girls here and there throughout secondary that I didn't tell no one about because obviously it's none of your goddamn business. But here and there, I've had my fair share of being rejected. And it happens to the best of us. Even in college in the UK, which is like the last 2 years of high school, the last girl I spoke to was the hardest one. Only because we had a friendship before and the whole shebang happened, but ever since then, I've been on my self shit. Grinding, learning, studying YouTube to be the best content creator I can be. So I can become proud of the content I create and so you guys can enjoy what I make a lot more. Every day I spend leveling up and asking creators questions to know how I could be better and keep changing. And to chase my goal to be one of the biggest there is here. So my message about rejection, it's not that deep. It happens to the most of us, so it's up to us to control our reaction about rejection. It's a relatable part of everyone's journeys and it's normal amongst everyone. It's a bitch, but it doesn't have to end in a be or end all. It's redirection most of the time. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be part of the plan and instead there's a better plan for you. So next time you feel bad being rejected by a person you like, or by a team you really wanted to join, or whatever else you can be rejected by, but them, they suck anyways. Now you're probably confused. First I spoke about and how they're trash, then spoke about getting rejected, and now I'm talking about Peter Parker. Yes, because it all comes together. If I've never mentioned it before, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero of all time. I mean, I think that's obvious. You can see the profile picture and the banner. Come on, man, you knew this already. I grew up alongside watching the Tobey Maguire trilogy, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, Spectacular Spider-Man, playing games like Spider-Man Edge of Time and Shattered Dimensions. I was a big Spider-Man kid growing up. And everything about Spider-Man was all I gave a crap about back then. Yes, I watched them go into other peak superheroes like Teen Titans, Batman, Iron Man, and the Avengers. But the first love I had toward any superheroes was to the GOAT himself. I can't express how much I rate Spider-Man. And of course, if I had to be any superhero for a day, I'm definitely picking Spider-Man. But I would never be Peter Parker. My boy has no life. Peter struggles on a day-to-day basis. First off, the guy's broke, dead ass poor. He dodges rent like he's UI Goku, and the most money he probably has is a bunch of nickels swirling around in his trousers. It's over for this guy. He works for the Daily Bugle as a freelance photographer and gives pictures of himself to the guy that despises him for no reason. Besides being a bitch, gets mocked constantly and treated like shit for being smart, has bullies, his uncle died and he didn't even get the right guy at first, then his aunt dies, and his girlfriend died. His best friend and dad are his arch nemesis. He dated movie Mary Jane, who is one of the worst movie girlfriends of all time, and he constantly loses day by day, struggling to get up out of bed after he just started fighting giant villains like the Lizard or Ultimate Green Goblin. His life is cooked. I'd barely call it a life. He's on survival mode. He's just walking through life. He's struggling to get by. And it ties in with the last two experiences I mentioned earlier. Regarding Jobs and Peter's life, the man doesn't even have a stable career. He only gets paid as long as he gets photos of himself, which he sells to Jameson to make a quick buck. He has to allow a man to publicly embarrass him and make him out to be a bad guy for money. He's letting a hater get into his skin and ruin his image. And then regarding rejection, bruv, MJ left him for Harry. And who cares if he threatened her? She knew he was Spider-Man by this time. He could have helped her. Why would you not communicate to the man who's literally the hero of New York? They gave him a parade float, fam. And you wouldn't go and tell him that Harry threatened your life. Trash! But the main reason why I still love Spider-Man to this day, his life is hard. The rest of these superheroes we see most of the time have good lives to go back to and have it easy once they go back into their secret identities. Tony Stark, billionaire. Clark Kent, 9 to 5. And then he goes back to his apartment with Lois Lane. Oliver Queen, big ass mansion. You get the point. But Spider-Man goes back to his broken down apartment, his bad school life, relationship problems, financial struggles, and all in all, his life day to day is more human than most other superheroes. You know, he's just a regular guy given powers, but still has the same problems he had before. And that's why I've always messed with Spider-Man. The relatability, the struggle, the problems, and the fact that he still chooses to be a superhero every single day, to get back up every time and keep pushing no matter what, is why this guy's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT. But still, his life is terrible, man. What the hell? Hell no. But yo, these are some events and experiences in life that I know a lot of us wouldn't probably be happy about. But it's always best to make the positive about any scenario. I don't know why I decided to make a video about this, and I probably will never know why. But like I said, I want to diversify and keep it real with you, man. Speak about everything and be transparent with you lot. I thought it would be funny to do something else. So if I made you laugh or anything, let me know in the comments below. And yo, I just want to thank you, man. At the time we're recording, we now have 52,000 subscribers. The motion I've had over the last 5 months, phenomenal. And I truly do hope that in the next 2 months, we could get some videos to do crazy and hit 100k subscribers by the end of the year. It's the dream, man. It's the dream. I love you guys and thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a blessed day and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.